You come to Thailand thinking you're different, that you'll see through the games, that the warmth in her smile means more than just business. But some lessons here aren't taught in words. They're felt, slowly, quietly, like water rising in a room where the door is locked from the outside. This is not a story of betrayal. It's a story of understanding, of how even the most genuine eyes can be part of something rehearsed, and how sometimes that doesn't make them any less beautiful. I came to Pattaya not for the girls, not for the bars, not even for the sun. That's what I told myself. The truth was murkier. I came to breathe, yes, but also to feel something again. After 60 years in Hamburg, everything felt gray, predictable, painless, but joyless. And when I landed in Thailand, something inside me stirred. I liked walking into bars at night, the neon signs buzzing softly, the scent of perfume and cheap whiskey. I wasn't chasing love, just company. A laugh, a warm smile across the table. Sometimes I visited the massage shops too, the kind where no one asked too many questions. I never felt ashamed, just human. Then I met her. Her name was Pim. She looked different from the bar girls. Mid-30s, neat blazer, polished shoes. She had that Bangkok professional air about her, even here in Pattaya. We met when I called a local real estate office to ask about long-term villa rentals. She showed up the next morning on a scooter, helmet still dangling from one arm, holding a folder and a bottle of water. "We go see villa now?" she said with a practiced smile. I followed her. I didn't expect much, but the house she brought me to, it felt like a new life. It was in East Pattaya, far from the noise, up a small concrete road with mango trees leaning over the fence. 3 bedrooms, big sliding doors, a little pond with fish. I didn't need that much space, but it gave me peace. She walked me through the house like she already knew I'd take it. "You live here," she said. "Good for long stay. You like quiet, yes?" I nodded. We signed a 1-year contract, 40,000 baht per month, with a double deposit up front. Pim handled all the paperwork. "You very easy customer," she smiled. Some foreign complained too much. When I handed her the cash, she touched my hand lightly. "If you need anything," she said, "you call me, anything." I didn't realize then how literal that offer would become. At first it was just small things. She brought over extra towels, a new kettle when mine stopped working, helped me set up the Wi-Fi. Nothing major, just thoughtful. Then came the dinners. She invited me out to a seafood place near the lake. Not fancy, but quiet. She wore a white blouse and light makeup. Looked nothing like a realtor that night, more like a date. "I don't usually do this with clients," she said, stirring her iced tea. "But you are different, kind, not like others." And I wanted to believe her. After that night, Pim started dropping by more often. Sometimes with groceries, sometimes just to talk. She'd sit on the edge of the sofa, legs tucked underneath her, asking about Germany, my ex-wife, my childhood. She listened like no one had in years. One evening, after a walk on the beach, she stayed the night. No drama, no awkwardness, just quiet closeness. I didn't think I was in love, but I liked the silence we shared, the comfort. At 60, it felt like maybe life had given me a second chance, and part of me wondered, was this how people found happiness in Thailand? Weeks passed, and our routine became natural. She wasn't there every day, but often enough that her absence felt strange. She'd bring food, light candles at dinner, even folded my laundry once. One evening, after a bottle of red wine, I said something careless. "I'm even thinking of buying a place here someday." Her eyes lit up just for a second, then softened. "You serious?" "Maybe," I said, "if life stays this good." She smiled. I remember thinking, this feels real. But she stayed late one evening. We'd grilled fish out back, drank wine under the yellow patio light. The night was warm but quiet. No traffic, no noise from the neighbors. Just the hum of ceiling fans and the occasional gecko chirping outside. She stood to leave, but lingered at the door. You want me go? She asked softly, her eyes searching mine. I didn't answer. Instead, I stepped closer and brushed her hair behind her ear. She didn't move away. Her hand touched my chest, gentle, unsure, then stayed there. We kissed. No rush, no heat of bar night lust. It was slower, realer. We ended up in the bedroom, lights dimmed low. She moved with grace, not rehearsed, not mechanical, but like she wanted to be there. Her skin was warm from the evening air, her breath soft in my ear as she whispered things in Thai I didn't understand, but I felt them. She slid her blouse off slowly, watching my face, and smiled when I looked nervous, like she knew this meant something deeper to me. That night wasn't about sex. It was about feeling wanted, touched, chosen. And in that moment, I let myself believe I wasn't just another old man with a pension. The morning after, she made coffee like she'd done it 100 times. My shirt hung from her shoulders, and she hummed some Thai melody I didn't recognize. It felt domestic, almost dangerous in how natural it was. You like strong coffee, right? She said, handing me the cup with both hands. German style. I smiled. You remember. She kissed me on the forehead and sat beside me. For a while, neither of us spoke. Just sunlight, the whir of the fan, and two people pretending it could last. But later that day, she checked her phone 3 times in 10 minutes and took a call outside. The weeks that followed felt like something out of a dream I didn't dare question. Pim started spending more nights at the villa. We fell into a rhythm, morning coffee on the patio, market runs together, quiet dinners under the garden lights. She liked humming while chopping vegetables, always barefoot in the kitchen. Sometimes she'd put on old Thai pop songs and pull me into a slow dance, giggling when I stepped on her toes. I feel peaceful with you, she said once, her head resting on my shoulder. You don't make drama. Neither did she, not yet. But once or twice a week, she still had to run errands. Sometimes she'd stay 3 nights in a row. We'd cook together, watch silly shows, make love without hurry. There was a rhythm, a sweetness to it all. It almost felt like home. But then, just as suddenly, she'd pack a small bag and say she had to leave. Only 2 days, work, client from Singapore coming. Her tone was light, practiced. She'd kiss me, smile like nothing was wrong, and ride off on her scooter, helmet swinging from the handlebars. And more, she'd step outside to take calls, always in English, always just far enough from the door that I couldn't hear the words. She never said who it was. At first I told myself it was normal. She worked in real estate after all. Clients came and went. Calls at odd hours were part of the job. But something in the way she acted, the tone of her voice, the way she smiled when she answered, then dropped it the moment she hung up. It started to gnaw at me. One evening, while she showered, her phone lit up on the table. A message preview. Can't wait to see you again, Pim. Name, John, Pattaya Villa 3. I didn't touch the phone. I didn't need to. That one line told me more than I wanted to know. I didn't ask her about the message. What could I say? That I saw a heart emoji from a man with a villa number? Instead, I waited, observed. The next morning, Pim was sweet as ever. Made breakfast, folded my laundry, joked about how German men never tan properly. But I noticed she kept her phone close, like it was a part of her. She got another message while we were eating. The screen lit up and she turned it face down in one motion. Smooth. Automatic. Work again? I asked, keeping my voice light. She smiled. Always work, baby. But her eyes didn't smile with her. That day, I couldn't shake the feeling. I walked down toward the sea and ended up at the 7-Eleven on Pratamnak, the one with the outdoor tables facing the Gulf of Thailand. I grabbed a cold bottle of green tea and sat alone, watching the soft waves roll in under the midday sun. The view was calm. Fishing boats drifted lazily in the distance. A breeze moved through the palms. For a moment, it felt like peace. But my chest was tight. What if I wasn't the only one? And what if I already knew, but didn't want to admit it? That evening, Pim came back smiling like always. Hair tied up, sunglasses on her head, carrying a small bag from Bangkok. I bring something for you. she said, holding out a polo shirt still folded with the tag. Blue, your color. I smiled. I even thanked her. But inside, something had shifted. That night, while she showered, I stood in the kitchen sipping cold water, staring at the dim reflection of myself in the glass door. I thought about John, about the heart emoji, about the other villas she might be visiting, carrying that same smile, that same tone. I suddenly felt very old. I tried to tell myself I was overthinking, that she cared, that I meant something. But the next morning, she was back on the phone again, pacing just outside the gate, speaking softly in English. I caught fragments. Yes, same location, very quiet street. Can show tomorrow if morning better for you. She walked in and saw me watching from the kitchen window. Her smile flickered for half a second, then returned. Client from Europe, just work, she said, slipping her phone into her bag. You hungry? I cook omelet? I nodded, but something inside me went quiet, like a switch had flipped. That day, I stayed home while she went to show a house. She left around noon, in a rush, hair done, lips touched with soft red. Same smile, same kiss on the cheek. You wait for me, okay? She said. Not late. But she didn't come back that evening. No message. By 9 p.m., but I knew better. The wine didn't help, neither did the quiet. That night, she came back the next morning just after 10, smiling, freshly showered, carrying a bag of fruit like nothing had happened. Sorry, baby, she said, kissing my cheek. Client very difficult. Had to stay near Jomtien. So late. No time call. I wanted to ask whose place she stayed at. I wanted to ask if he got the same kiss I did. But instead I just nodded and took the fruit. She cut up some pineapple in the kitchen, humming to herself like it was just another day. But for me, something had cracked. Not broken yet, but close. And cracks don't heal on their own. I started noticing patterns after that. She always left around the same times, late mornings or just before sunset. Always said it was for work. New clients, important listings, foreign investor from Europe. And always, she came back softer, sweeter, like guilt made her generous. Once, I watched her from the upstairs window as she got on her scooter. She wasn't in her usual casual clothes. She wore that same white blouse from our first dinner. The one she said was her lucky shirt. I watched until she disappeared down the street, and I realized I didn't believe a word she said anymore. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept picturing her with someone else, pouring wine, laughing, running fingers along another man's shoulder just like she did with me. Same script, different face. Was I the fool, or just the latest in a long line of fools? Around 2 a.m., I got up, walked out to the patio, and lit a cigarette. I hadn't smoked in years. The moon hung low over the palm trees, casting pale shadows across the empty chairs in the garden. Ours, mine, his, whoever came next. I wasn't jealous. I was tired. Tired of pretending this wasn't exactly what it looked like. The doubts kept eating at me. So one afternoon, I got in my car and drove toward her agency's office near South Pattaya. I parked a little up the street, just far enough to not be seen. I brought a pair of old binoculars, German, heavy, forgotten in the back of a drawer. Still worked perfectly. Around 4 p.m., her scooter pulled up. Same clean white blouse, same confident stride. She stood outside the office, scanning the street. Then a man appeared, older, Western, retired look, polo shirt tucked in, small suitcase with wheels. He smiled nervously. And then I saw it. Her eyes lit up, exactly like they had the first time she looked at me. She leaned in slightly as she spoke to him, gesturing towards something down the road. Probably a villa. Probably quiet, perfect for long stay. The same script, the same rhythm. I didn't need to hear the words. I already knew them. From that distance, it hit me harder than I expected. Not because she lied, but because in that moment, I realized she'd never told me the truth. Not once. I drove home slowly, windows down, the hot wind doing nothing to cool the ache in my chest. The villa felt colder than usual, quieter. Her things were still in the bathroom. Toothbrush, hairbrush, a few skin creams lined up like they belonged here. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the floor for a long time. How many others? How many villas? How many men? How many dinners with soft music and candlelight? Had she ever really looked at me the way she looked at him today? Or was it always just good acting, the kind that sells houses and breaks old hearts? She came back that night just after 8, brought noodles and wine like it was some kind of celebration. "Long day," she said, slipping off her shoes. "Client very picky." I watched her move around the kitchen, humming softly, pouring 2 glasses like nothing had changed. I didn't say a word. Not about what I saw, not about the old man, not about the way her eyes sparkled when she spotted him, the same way they used to light up for me. She handed me a glass, sat across from me and smiled. And I smiled back, but something in me had already gone quiet. We ate dinner in silence, broken only by the clink of chopsticks and the low hum of a fan overhead. She told me stories about her day, her voice smooth, light, practiced. I nodded at all the right moments, laughed where I was supposed to, played my part. But inside, it felt like watching a movie I'd already seen, one where I knew the ending, and it didn't go well for the old man in the villa. After dinner, she curled up next to me on the couch, head on my shoulder, fingers tracing idle lines on my arm. I didn't pull away, but I didn't feel anything either. That night we made love. Or maybe we didn't. Maybe I just went through the motions while she whispered the same sweet words she'd said a dozen times before. She fell asleep fast, wrapped around me like nothing was wrong. I lay there staring at the ceiling, her breath soft against my chest, and all I could think about was the other man, how he must have felt right now. Hopeful, special, just like I had. I wanted to be angry, but all I felt was hollow, like someone had scooped something out of me and left the shape behind. In the morning she left early, said she had a meeting near Naklua, kissed me lightly, and rode off on her scooter without looking back. I sat there with my coffee, staring out the window, watching the sun climb over the garden wall. Birds chirped. Somewhere a dog barked. But the house felt empty, like she'd taken something with her when she left, and it wasn't anything physical. I walked through the rooms, one by one, her toothbrush still there, her hair on the pillow, a half-empty bottle of shampoo in the shower. All the traces of someone who was never really mine. A few days later over lunch I told her. "I've been thinking," I said, watching her carefully. "Maybe I won't buy a place after all. Maybe renting is better for me." She paused mid-bite. "Oh," she said, forcing a smile. "Why change your mind?" I shrugged. "I like the villa, but buying feels too permanent." She nodded slowly, but something shifted in her eyes. The sparkle dulled. The warmth cooled by a few invisible degrees. "Up to you," she said, reaching for her phone. "Just don't wait too long. Good deals not stay forever." And just like that, something between us quietly died. After that conversation, she stopped staying the night. No fights, no scenes, just polite excuses. "Busy tomorrow. Friend from Bangkok visiting. Big client coming." She still messaged, still sent the occasional selfie. Always smiling, always somewhere else. But the tone had changed. The soft "miss you" became "hope you're okay." The baby became dear. And then sometimes, nothing at all. I didn't push, didn't beg. I just watched it slip away like a tide I couldn't hold back. And in the quiet, I finally admitted the truth. She was never mine, and I had known it for a while. Weeks passed. She came by once to pick up a few things she'd left. A blouse, a pair of sandals, a charger. She barely stepped inside, didn't look me in the eyes. "Hope everything good with you," she said, standing by the door. "You still like the villa?" I nodded. She smiled, the same smile she'd given me that first day, and then she was gone. No hug, no kiss, no goodbye. Just the sound of her scooter fading down the road. And me, standing there in the doorway, realizing that this chapter had ended long before I dared turn the page. I didn't hear from her after that. No calls, no messages, Not even the usual late night, "You okay?" she used to send out of habit or guilt. The villa felt too big again, too quiet. I tried to go back to my old routines, morning walks, beachside coffee, reading on the patio, but everything carried her fingerprints now. Every corner of the house whispered something she once said. Every room remembered how I used to wait for her scooter to pull up. I thought about moving, but I didn't, because leaving would make it real, and I wasn't ready for that yet. A month later, I finally called the agency, told them I was thinking of downsizing, maybe a condo closer to the beach, something smaller, simpler. They were happy to help. "New agent will meet you tomorrow," the woman said. "Very kind, speaks English well." The next day, I showed up at the office, sat across from a younger woman, maybe early 30s, professional, warm smile, familiar sparkle in her eyes. She handed me a brochure, leaned in to explain the layout. As she spoke, her fingers brushed mine, soft, intentional, just for a second. And in that second, I understood everything. I didn't hate her. I hated how much I wanted to believe. She was part of a system, a well-oiled rhythm of foreign men, empty villas, and soft reassurances. And maybe she never meant to hurt me. Maybe in her way, she cared. But I was never special, and neither was she. I looked into the eyes of that new agent, felt the same gentle touch, saw the same practiced glow. And I smiled, not because I was charmed, but because I finally knew how the game was played.